Hello there, welcome to my channel and welcome to a little bit of an unhaul. A lot of these books are duplicate books and therefore I don't need two copies basically, do I? So I'm going to try and go through them quite quickly with you. If you do enjoy this video, then please do give it a thumbs up. It does help my channel, and also consider subscribing to the channel if you don't already do so. Comment down below if you've read any of these books. As I often say, please no spoilers in the comments, because people maybe might read them who haven't read the books. So first one we've got is Gregory McGregor, I think it's pronounced as, and that is Wicked. And I've had this book for years and years. I've just noticed actually there's witches in the corner, look like they're flying. Anyhow, I've got two copies of this. I did purchase the film cover with the actresses on, which I don't tend to do. I don't normally do the TV covers or film covers or whatever. But I quite like that one. And as I say, I had this one still on the shelf, my bookshelves, and I thought there's no point in keeping two versions. This is the story of Elphaba and Galinda, and it is supposedly the prequel to The Wizard of Oz and how Elphaba became known as the Wicked Witch, I guess. I've seen the musical a number of times. This apparently is more dark, more, I wouldn't say graphic, but it's not as, I was going to say, because I don't think the musical's sickly sweet, but it's supposed to be different to the musical. Obviously the general story is the same. And I also have heard, I think, because I think there's 3 books in the series, that actually of the 3, this one is the better of the 3. But obviously it is it says fall under the wicked spell. Yeah, so I'm unhauling that one. I do keep meaning to read. I did start Wicked, and then as often things happen, I didn't get to finish it. I've also got 2 copies of this, so therefore I decided to get rid of this, and that's Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldry. I haven't read the first one. I do have it. I'm pointing as though you can see, and I can show you, and that I actually know where it is. It must be on this shelf here. I have got Legends and Lattes. This is the follow-up to that. So I'm not going to read the back because I haven't read the first one. It says high fantasy, first love, second-hand books. I just know, is it an ogre that opens a coffee shop in a place where they don't know about coffee? They've never had coffee before, and this is the follow-up. This came in a book box, and I already have it. I'd already purchased it anyway. I'm pretty sure I've already got it in hardback, and therefore decided to unhaul it. So what I'm going to do is these possibly go to work onto we have a bit of a bookshelf in the store cupboard, and then if anybody wants them, they can have them. Likewise, I've got 2 copies of this, Noughts and Crosses by, is it Mallory Blackman? The Noughts and the Crosses series are my favourite books of all time. Apparently Stormzy says. Now the reason again I have got this, I'm getting rid of this, is because I bought the series, which is down there. I bought a box set of a different version of it. You're a Nought and I'm a Cross, and there's nowhere for us to be, nowhere for us to go where we can be left in peace. That's why I started crying for all the things we're never going to have. So we've got 2 people who have been friends since childhood. They both know that as far as they can go, their worlds are full of racism, fear and mountain violence. There's Noughts and Crosses are fated to be enemies. Then against the odds, these star-crossed lovers choose each other, but this is a love story that leads them both into terrible danger. So yes, again, I've had this, I wanted it for ages, I'm pretty sure, in fact I did. I bought this one from Barter Books, I think a couple of years ago, if not a couple of years ago, possibly last year. I do think it was a couple of years ago, but like I say, I do have the rest, and I do think they made if I remember rightly, they made a series of it. So yes. So like I say, duplicate copies, still books that I want to read, but have another copy of. Likewise with what seemed to be, I think was a TikTok sensation of last year, and it spread onto sort of booktube, and that is the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, It's a Season to Fall in Love by Laurie Gilmore. This, I'm getting rid of the paperback version, basically. I got a hardback one that HarperCollins were doing a special edition with sprayed edges, and so therefore decided to get that one. I thought I may as well get rid of my paperback versions. So we have Jeannie's, when Jeannie's aunt gives her beloved Pumpkin Spice Cafe in the small town of Dreamy Harbour, Jeannie jumps at the chance for a fresh start away from her very dull desk life. Or then we've got the Logan, who's a local farmer, and he tries to avoid the local gossip. I just had to refresh my memory. Try to avoid the local gossip. I think things are happening, if I remember rightly, things are happening in the cafe. He's helping her. And yes, this has, if I remember rightly, it is a little bit smutty. And I think certainly, is it the, can't think what you call the next one. Is it Cinnamon Bun Cafe, the second one? Yeah, is apparently even more smutty. I do have that to read, like everything. It's on my TBR. I will get to read it, but decided to get rid of, to unhaul this book. I thought it was okay. It was pleasant enough. If I remember rightly, it wasn't, I wanted it to be more, I was going to say seasonal, but I do think at some point it's on, we do have, it is set in sort of, it is, I'm sure it's set in the autumn. But yes, worth a read. And like I say, I'm just going to unhaul the paperback version because there's no point in keeping it. Then I've got Rachel McLean's The Island Murders, Dorset Crime Series. This is the one that I got. I have a little bit of a subscription my husband got me last year, the back end of the year, with Gallo Veda bookshop, which is in Kirkcudbright in Scotland, because it's one of our favourite places to go. We often go camping close to there. We always go to Dumfries and Galloway, and it's the independent bookshop that I like to pop into. And when we saw online that they had like a subscription, he paid for I think 6 months books, and this was the first one I received. We haven't this is a bodies washed up on the shores of Brownsea Island, and DCI Leslie Clark initially suspects suicide. And I think it obviously, when it says a Dorset Crime Series, I think it sort of, the series features around this this Leslie Clark. Anyhow, like we say, it's an island, you can only get to it by ferry. And I think they work, do they work for the National Trust? I think they work for the National Trust. There's certainly some sort of research going on the island, and one of them is murdered, and obviously it's very a closed off island and there's not many people on there, and you kind of, it was okay. It wasn't the best. Is it classed as a thriller? It says crime series. It's the million copy bestseller. I think it is. I don't know. Is it classed as a crime? It says this gripping, twisty detective novel set in rural Dorset. I didn't find it gripping. It was okay. It wasn't a cozy crime, but it was yeah. I don't think I would necessarily continue with the series. If I happened to, by chance, that they sent me another one, I would read it. But I can't recall what I gave it at the time. I think it was only probably about a 3-star or something. It was okay. It was can you say an easy read for a crime thriller? It wasn't gritty. It wasn't, if you want just let's say gentle, can you say again, gentle crime thriller? Actually, I'm wondering where the other one of this is. Right. Christina Lauren's Inner Holidays. I've got 2 copies of this. I don't know where the other copy is. And the reason why I know I've got 2 copies is because I'll try to read it in December. And I DNF'd it. I DNF'd it. I just didn't, I wasn't interested. I know I have read The Honeymooners, which I quite liked. Now, isn't Christina Lauren 2 authors, I believe? Like I say, I've read The Honeymooners, and I thought again that was okay. I quite enjoyed it. It was a page turner. This, I got bored. So we have, who's the protagonist? Marlene, I think, is it? Yeah. And she goes to the holiday. They have a, well, they don't have a cabin. They go to a cabin every year with some family and friends. And it happens quite early on at the beginning. I'm pretty sure. Does it tell you? So as the mountain loungers to drive away for what they think is the final time, she throws a play out to please show me what will make me happy. And the next she knows, everything goes black. When she wakes up, she's back on the plane going back to the cabin, because obviously they have a cabin and they have to drive. They're on a plane and have to drive, and they begin the holiday over again. And then for various reasons, she gets so far through the day, something happens, she's back on the plane. It's the Groundhog Day kind of thing. But to be truthful, it says there, Love Actually meets Groundhog Day in a laugh out loud holiday romance. I didn't find that. Like I say, I DNF'd it. I can't even remember how far I got through. This must be the copy I didn't read. I don't know whether I'll put the other copy, but the other copy will be going as well. Yeah. And I'm not a big, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my slipper on my foot there. I'm not a big DNFer. I need to be better at it, because I do think I persevere with books for far too long and then think, anyhow, so yeah. I wouldn't personally recommend that one. I think, as I say, I got a little bit bored of the repetition. Yeah. I'm also unhauling The Secret of Haven Point by Lisette Arton, is it? Outsiders never come here. The magic doesn't let them. This is a middle grade book. I read it last year. I want to say in May, because it was part of Emily from Novell Novels Spoonie. I think this was the group read. I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. I think I probably gave it about 3.5. I mean, this is a charming tale of found families and mermaids with my favourite kind of hero at its heart. And that was written by Elle McNichol. It says, I was Haven Point's first Reckling, but I certainly wasn't the last. There are 42 of us now, not including the mermaids. So when he's washed up as a baby, Haven Point has become a ramshackle home for any disabled person who needs somewhere to belong. So it says the Recklins spend their days looting from passing ships with the magical help from Mermaid Clan and a lighthouse keeper with kitten in his beard. But beyond the boundaries of Haven Point, danger lurks. It's only a matter of time before the Recklings are forced to decide what kind of future they want and what they're willing to do to get it. I enjoyed it. I finished it. It wasn't a terrible book, but I do feel I've read better. As I say, I think I probably gave it about 3.5 stars. It's worth reading. It is a nice middle grade, just not my favourite. I wasn't bored. Yeah, I know Emily loved it. Then this one I've had for years, and I don't know why. I bought The Greatest Love Story Ever Told. And it's by the woman that was in Megan Maloney, is it? Who was in Will and Grace. And it's about her, I think, how she met her husband, I think. I'm just trying to read the back. Yeah. It seems to be sort of, I wouldn't say conversational, but you know, it's got like, it must be both of them wrote it. So it's got like an N next to it and an M. And he's called Nick Hoffman. And it's, yeah, I saw it, I think, in a pile of books. And I thought, do you know, I've never read that. And I have literally had it for years. There's some photographs in it. I think, as I say, I bought it when I was a big Will and Grace fan. So yes, this one I do recommend, but I'm not going to reread it, so I thought I would unhaul it. And this one I think I'll go to a local charity shop. When the War Came Home by Leslie Park. This is what I read it last year in November. In November I do quite like to read, I'll say themed books. I like to read books set in the wartime or about the war, and this is about a young girl who goes to live with her auntie, with her mum, with her auntie and her cousins, and how it changes her life, and she meets some ex-veterans, and it's how the war's affected them and how their experiences change her life and how she grows and how she matures, and it's worth reading. And it's how she helps as well. I do recommend that, but I'm not gonna reread it. I am also going to get rid of Julia and the Shark by Karen Millwood Hargraves. This is about a girl who goes to live at a lighthouse off, I think it's Scotland, isn't it? I think. Cornwall. Anyway, she goes to live on on an island with a lighthouse, and her mum is looking for a certain shark. Her father's supposed to be keeping up the upkeep of the lighthouse. They're supposed to be there for about 6 months, and it's just a bit of a story about that. I think it's classed as a middle grade. I must have bought this second hand because it says used, very good. My name is Julia. This is the story of the summer I almost lost my mum and found a shark older than trees. Don't worry though, that does not spoil the ending. It's worth reading. I've read it recently. It's got beautiful pictures in, and I just know, again, I'm probably not going to reread it, and I'm trying to get room on my shelves to get books put away. And it's childhood. It's about friendship. Again, I'm getting rid of this copy of The Poppy Wars. They trained her for a war. She intended to end it, by R.F. Kuang. I've not read this, but again, I got a nice copy of it from a TikTok shop with sprayed edges, etc. This is telling a story of war. Believe it is, a thrilling, action-packed fantasy of gods and mythology. So yeah, but I do intend to read it again. It says there, they trained her for war. She intended to end it. So it's, I'm looking forward to that. It's another. Oh, there's the other copy of that. I knew I had 2 copies of that. Knew that. I do intend to read it. I know it's a fantasy. it's part of a series, and like everything I keep saying, I need to read it. I am getting rid of my Murder Under the Mistletoe, the Reverend Richard Cole book. I spoke about this in December in a wrap-up or a video, how I was a bit disappointed with it. It didn't really hold my attention, but how I've got some more books, and I don't know if it was because this was so short, it took too long to, I was going to say too long to get to the murder, and it just seemed to be wrapped up very, very quickly. It's set on Christmas Day. Obviously, people kiss under the mistletoe, and somebody dies, and we find out who did it. And yeah, it wasn't gripping, it wasn't. But I'm not giving up on Richard Cole. And finally, I am getting rid of my hardback copy of The Maiden by Kate Foster. Again, I think this was shortlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction last year, so 2024. I've got which is unusual, swapping for a paperback version with nice sprayed edges. I really enjoyed this. I would reread it again. It was one of my favourite books of last year. The Maiden is the contraption. It's actually existed how they would kill people in Edinburgh. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm not getting myself, yes, it's set in Edinburgh, October 1679, and it's about Lady Christina, and she is arrested for the murder of her lover, who is her actual uncle, isn't he? She's charged with the murder of her lover. She's imprisoned, and this happens obviously in the very beginning. There's other sort of women involved, different stories. If I remember right, there's certainly 2 perspectives. Yes, I really enjoyed it, and it says it's inspired by the real-life case of The Maiden, a remarkable story of a feminist revolutionist twist, giving a voice to a woman otherwise silenced by history. Obviously, you do find out whether she's guilty or innocent at the end, and we find out what happens. And like I say, The Maiden is talking about the contraption that they were executed with. So that is my unhaul. This video was a bit longer than I hoped it would be. I thought it would be a bit quicker, but you know me, I waffle on a little bit. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have done, like I say, please do give me a thumbs up. It really does help. Subscribe to my channel if you don't already do so. And as I say, comment. I can't think of emoji to put at the bottom. Maybe I was going to say a purple flower, because there's some purple flowers on here. There's also a pineapple, anyhow. But yes, that book, I would really recommend it, and I will reread it. But I've got as I say, I've got a paperback, a nice copy of a paperback version of it, and do have her next book as well to read. Take care. As I say, thank you for watching, and if you have got to the end, thank you so much. Thank you for your comments. When people comment on my video, it does really make my day. And yes, take care, and I will see you shortly in another video. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.